Human Rights Commission has been given the go-ahead to investigate several unresolved murders in the small town of Klawer in the Western Cape. Now, this follows claims that self-confessed murderer of 13-year-old Jerobien van Wyk could be guilty of several more crimes. The 56-year-old man was arrested following a search of his house where police found human remains in a drain. eNCA's Ayesha is covering this story for us and joins us now. Good afternoon, Ayesha. Now, it's been more than a week since body parts were found in the sewer drain in Klawer. What's the latest now?
So I spoke to the Human Rights Commissioner, Chris Nissen, earlier today, and he was saying that he was called in by the community of Klawer to come and assist them, not necessarily with the investigation, but to keep a close eye on the investigation. Now, we know, and as you say, that the remains of what is believed to be the remains of 13-year-old Jerobien van Wyk was found on the premises of a man who has since been arrested and who has appeared in court, and that man has been named as Daniel Smith, and he's a local resident. And just to give you a bit of background, we know now that the allegation is that the two boys, it was Jerobien and a friend of his, had allegedly gone and picked some fruit from this man's fruit trees. He then chased them away. He got into his bakkie, and the allegation is that he knocked over 13-year-old Jerobien, and then subsequently these are allegations that he murdered the boy, and to an extent where the remains were found in a drain on his premises in Klawer. Now, a court case has started. The man has appeared in court, and that matter has now been postponed, and he's been remanded into custody until April. Now, we also know that he decided not to apply for bail. But let's listen to what Human Rights Commissioner Chris Nissen had to say.
Now we need to do two things. A is for us to speed up the DNA testing, proper assessment, and obviously, efficient analysis of the DNA. And we hope that we could ask them to speed up within the next two to 3 days, so that the family can find in their hearts that at least whether this is their child or not their child, but the man has confessed already that what he did in his confession. But that's the first thing. The second thing is the community has been telling us, community leaders have been telling us that there are a number of children that went missing over the years. And so we need to then try and meet with the people, the parents, of whose children allegedly are missing, but at the same time work with organizations that are working in tracing missing children and missing people. And so we'll probably have a discussion with some of those organizations to see if we can find first of all, the truth whether they are missing, and B, if we can then try and trace them, if they are alive somewhere with some other people they're staying. But if the fear is that there are many people that went missing for a few years and they cannot be found. And so that is what we need to ascertain.
You know, Ayesha, this is honestly a very tragic story. What more do we know about the suspect, though?
So locals in the area say that Daniel Smith moved to Klawer about 5 years ago. They say that he is an employee of Transnet, but they also say that he has always been very quiet and a person who kept to himself. So they were saying when they heard about this murder that took place and the fact that the human remains were found on his premises, they were quite shocked about that.
Well, honestly, very disturbing. And how far is the investigation insofar as the police are concerned?
So we know now that the suspect, as I said, Daniel Smith, has been arrested. He appeared in court, and according to his lawyer, he confessed to the murder. We've not had sight of that confession to find out the details and to what extent and to what exactly he has confessed to, because we do know that he's been charged with murder, we know that he's been charged with kidnapping, but there are also an array of other charges connected to this. But of course, what is sad here also is that because of the backlog in DNA testing and analysis, a funeral can only take place once the human remains that were found, once that has been directly linked to the 13-year-old Jerobane. So you can imagine what his family must be going through. But as I said, they've called in the help of the South African Human Rights Commission, and let's listen again to what Chris Nissen has to say about this.
A confession is one thing. It's actually because there are other things that are missing here. Remember the body parts that came out? Well, there were no bones. There were no head. There were no feet. It was just lungs and intestines and pieces of the skin on the hair and the ear, as I was told by our monitors there. So we need to understand, the family will also need to understand what happened to the rest of the body. Is it buried somewhere, or is it thrown away? At least that will give the family also a peace, not the peace of mind, but will give them understanding that this pain and this hurt, at least they can bury some parts of their body and so on. So that we need to understand, what did the man do with this boy, if it's true that he is the alleged perpetrator?
No, it would most certainly go a long way for their closure or their healing process to actually find the other remains, because right now there's too many questions for the family. My heart honestly goes out to them. Ayesha, thank you very much for that. We'll leave it there for now. That's reporter Ayesha Ismail just giving us the latest on the discovery of the human remains that were found there last week in Klawer. Now, still to come on today's sport, mixed